I actually intended you to say hi back. So hi. Good stuff, good stuff. I'm going to stand right here, specifically because if I move to the left or the right, my dark skin prevents you from seeing anything. So this X was actually for me. Everybody else, the box was. You know, it's everyone. Even Tony, the box was for you. But for me, the X was mine. It was meant to be a T. They kind of got it wrong. I'm going to talk about aliens and robots. And I have a confession to make. I made my presentation roughly 2 hours ago. Last night, no, don't clap, don't cheers. 18 minutes we'll do that. Last night at like 2:30, I was in the club with Alex and with Ryan and Zach, and they were really worried about that. They were thinking, so you know, doing the beat. So in you know how a song has a break, the song would have the break, then they're like, "Do you want to go do your presentation now?" So I'll do it, and then you tell me how it was like later. Now, I've been seeing everybody doing all sorts of pull-type shots to turn this over. Some guys were like this, and then, you know, some people are like this, and some are trying to do this. And I'll just kind of stick to pointing directly at the computer. That seems to not work. I'll do it again. That's not my presentation. Cool. So I'm going to, that's me. And that's my presentation. 300 minutes. You've been here for 300 minutes. Minus the time that I'm going to be talking. So it's like 300 minutes minus 17 seconds and about 50. I mean 17, yeah, but yeah, about 10 seconds because that's how much I've been talking. So minus 18 minutes, you've been here for 300 minutes. And my question is, it's not my question, actually. That's what I'd like to do. I'd like to talk about you. I really would like to talk about you. Ish. I kind of want to talk about you. And but this conversation is very deep. I personally can't see stuff in black, so I'm just going to stick with the stuff in white. That's the alien. That being has a couple of tendencies that some of you would recognize and some of you would not. That is not the alien. That's the robot. And the robot has tendencies to do stuff because they want to do stuff, not because stuff needs to be done in a certain way. The thing about aliens versus robots has more to do about you versus yourself than anything you've ever come across in your life. And I'm going to convince you of this truth, which will now become a fact when I'm done with this presentation. Yes. In my life, I have no boxes. I have decided that the one thing I will do is not tell people I live outside a box. It's not have a box. I'm going to make a box so irrelevant that when you say that I live outside the box, you're not even in the realm of where I live. Because in my realm, boxes just don't exist. But for me to do that, there was a lot of things that I had to get right. And some of these things work. Are that I had to identify what kind of person I wanted to be. I decided a long time ago that I will be an alien. I decided that first things first, I will slobber all over you. So when I'm flying over to the States or I am flying over to some other place, I make sure the person sitting next to me has a nylon t-shirt. Easy to wipe. The next thing I do is that I'm not afraid of being strange. And I will quickly move over to the next thing I also do, which is fuzzy. It's not the way you know it. It's just different. You don't get it. It is ungettable. Yeah, because of MIB, Men in Black, we all tend to blink sideways if you're an alien. But it's unusual and it tends to ooze out of you. If you've been watching the people who have been here in the last 300 minutes, minus 17 minutes, minus 4.26 seconds, you have seen that a lot of the people who are here were oozing some sort of passion. They had a story to tell. There was something in their lives that they felt so strongly about. Whether it was the magazines that Tony put up, or the Melamine conversations that were on the videos, there was always something fascinating to talk about. Robots, on the other hand, are a bit different. Those two words probably describe robots the best. They're programmed, they're mechanical. Where you find people being inspired robots tend to get upgraded, where you find people engaging. Robots, you kind of stick stuff into them. USBs, floppy drives, CD-ROMs and things, and CD. It's kind of like how lots of people I know in the last 2 days are here kind of manage to do stuff. If you try to get them outside their box, they refuse. You have to plug them in with something. Where I look at myself, seeing that I'm an African, 100%, didn't study out of the country, first time here, and I'm going to talk about that in a bit, is I look at myself like a banana with a white background. Because Africa is always sort of black. Banana. This is what I think I am. I am fresh. I'm a cool dude. I'm bright. You know, the story is good. You want to bite that banana. That's what I see. And in fact, I see a big chunk of the banana. Not all of it, because I'm not even sure what I'm about. So there's a lot more to explore on the Penn State side banner thingy over there behind. But when you ask other people what they see, that's not what they see. They see that. The background is black. The black background is black. This is not my actual accent. I don't talk like this. I just do this because you'd never understand what I'm saying. This is what they see when they think of Africa. At least from a programmer IT kind of dude's background. And it's unfortunate because I will code for food. I will. But it's not that I can't make it. It's just because it's kind of cool to code for food. And most of the time it's girls who make food, which is nice. And there are a couple of things that I want to clarify before we continue here. First things first, let's start with the no section. No, I am not related to the president of your country. I am not related to the aunt of the cousin of the twin of the farmer whose wife is your president's dad's sister's niece. Not at all. Second things, let's just clean this out. Do not shout. I can really, honestly understand everything you're saying to me. Somebody told the air hostesses in Delta that I was from Kenya first time in the States. Okay, I did that. I'm sorry. And they kept talking to me loudly. Would you like some orange juice? Yes, that's why I said I would like orange juice. Did you hear me? Lastly, which is actually very important for me, I do not need a handout. I don't. I appreciate it if you give it to me because my birthday was last week, Friday. But really, I don't. What I do is I stand out as a dude. And I figured something out in my life. I figured out these three things determine my future. My influence, that's why it's in a circle. My networks, which was supposed to be a bit further away from resources. And my resources. And I told myself, I learned this, I realized something. This is very difficult, but I have to stand next to the X. But I would be walking up and down and trying to point stuff out. But what I realized is if you have one of these, you'll obviously get the next one. Let me give you an example of a dude I've just met. He's called Reeves. He's fantastic. You've seen him. And he was talking about the poem. I have very long legs. I can't do that for very long. But then imagine what would happen if he became one of the people in my networks. Because of him looking at me and liking me, then you know what? He's going to go and influence somebody else. And that somebody else would be like, you know what? I think Tony's a really cool chap, kind of the way you did when you came to Kenya. Sat down on a table next to me. For 20 minutes we spoke. I'm pointing at Steve, by the way. People might see your hairdo and think you're somebody else, but that's Steve. And Steve came here and put it all together. You know what? They flew me into the country. And I'm very grateful for that. It's just you should have told me it's a 29-hour flight. And this circle told me that, you know what, you can do something with your life if you have this understanding. If you have an understanding that your circle of influence determines your circle of resources, your circle of resources determines your network determines your influence, and it just goes round and round. And it doesn't matter where you start, it'll always be that way. And I'm glad to say I came up with that. It's kind of cool. By the way, it's Pink Month, and it's kind of sad. This was meant to be smaller, didn't work out. But I just want to say, it's October, so let's all get ourselves checked. This is a good time for me to just squeeze that in there. So anyway, there's this place in Nairobi. So we were doing, remember the influence, the networks resources? There's this place in Nairobi. It's actually a big deal. It's called Kibera. It's the largest slum in the world. which basically means, you've got the Bronx and the Queens and all of that stuff and the ghettos and where the hood is, and that's what is called the gutter. No. Come down to my hood. I will show you living on dirt. This is how it looks like from outer space. I am sorry, dude. I will move out from the X. All of these small little metal shiny thingies are people's roofs. Roofs. The things on top of houses. And this is so big that Penn State's football thingy, stadium, if I just mess it up, just throw it this way, I'll be very grateful, is probably about, there's a blue over here. Can you see this blue? It's that size. That can hold 100,000 people. This holds 1.8 million people. There's only 2 places in the world with more people per square foot inches and that thing that you measure with than this place. Gaza and India. India, you understand. What do you do? This. See that? Is a golf course. This over here is one of the most expensive places to buy land in the continent of Africa. It's strange how you put this and this together. I get pissed easy by stuff like that. And one of the things I decided to do is, you know what? I'm going to want to see what I could do about it. So that's me over there. I am skinny and tall, and my head is big and round. I decided I'm going to go to Kibera and just meet a couple of people with a friend of mine called Suraj. And when we got there, we decided we're going to leave our band at home. Because I don't think you'd enjoy being felt sorry for the whole time. And I met people. And they made me happy all the time. They weren't sad or pitiful. They loved their lives. Yes, they knew they didn't have a lot, but they didn't care. And we did a TEDx in Kibera, which was so big on TED.com. And that photograph was on it. Which is me in a pair of jeans that the zip kept opening up, so I had to stand together like this and tuck my t-shirt. And I realized that these are the people that we keep looking down on. These are the people we keep thinking can't do anything. This is the person you're talking about. I know you have an image in your head of how Kibera would look like if people are poor, but that's the person you're talking about. And that person doesn't look weak to me. This is still what we're talking about in case you missed it. Where are you? That's aliens and that's robots, by the way. It's pretty cool how I got this stuff together. Plus the black and white was getting boring, so I put some yellow. I realized that, so now that I know what I know, and I know the people, I know the tools, I saw their interest. We need a lab. But despite the lab, what's most important is the gap. Can I find a gap where I can squeeze these people into a society? And after talking with them for a while, this crazy madness came up. Government, Kibera, universities, lifestyles, the web, online, Uganda. Oh, I can't read that one. Demand, that's what it is. Kenya, media, and it became more and more. I realized, there's stuff to do. But it's so disorganized and makes no sense. How are you going to make this work for everyone? Then it did. I realized, you know what, Tony? You're standing somewhere in a precipice. It's a big word. Where there's Kibera folk over here. Yes, Kibera folk over here. You're more than that side. And then that side, there are corporates that got tons of money. You all want web presence. You want digital presence. You want people to know you and see you online. Then here is the customer base. And you guys are just kind of far away, so I'm not going to deal with you right now. But you are the customer base. And you know what? Okay, I'm going to deal with you because I like you people. You are the technologists in Nairobi who know how to use all these tools. What if I got you to teach them, and them to serve them, and them to reach them easy? What if we created that link? I don't like talking about stuff much. I decided this is what I'm going to be like. I'm going to be like Tony Bound, with my little gun and my single eye, my purpose and my vision. And I know I don't have that much around my midsection. I've worked very hard to keep this kind of pencil-like shape. But I went out and I showed my ideas to people and told the Kibera guys, this can happen, man. You know, you could do this. And then I ran to the corporates and told them, I'll be back. And then I ran to the technology sub there and told them, you know, we've got something to do. And then I tried it out and we tried to make it work and we became more. And then more people started running around and I stopped running around because I was getting really tired and I'm old now. And they kept running around and they had a lot of faith and belief. And you know what happened? Robots checked in. They look so good, but they don't really do anything. And they really are just a truck. They just kind of park there and then just check you out. Corporates started saying, this is never going to work. How come we're going to put our reputation on these guys? Kibera guys started saying, you know what, us guys don't know what corporate's like. We forget dropping out of school. We didn't even do school. People in the middle were saying, this is just rubbish. Let them fight it out, and then we can watch TV and keep sticking to our traditional advertisements. Techies said, this is a waste of my time and money. Somebody pays me for my skill. But I am stone deaf to people like that. Because I realized something about innovation. If you break innovation down into three different words, you get in, or, vate. Vate doesn't really mean anything, so I just turned it into bait and put a little red cross here. I'm an innovative kind of guy. That's the thing I do, you know what I mean? And I realized that, you know what, there's a couple of things that innovators do. First, you can't manage innovation. You trust it, you follow it, you run after it. It's just you. Or lunch, but it's you, ideally. You have to find yourself in it. Another thing about innovation is, and I say this all the time, it does actually smell funny. There is something about innovation. DJ Earworm was here doing his thing. And he kept moving when the music was playing. I don't think he has ADHD. I think he likes what he's doing. You feel what you're doing. You feel it. It does smell funny. There's something about it that either draws you towards it or draws you away from it. Oh wait, it can't draw you away from it. That pulls you away from it. And if you keep going on, there's a lot of other stuff in there. Not afraid to be an assistant. Like she is. She's been standing there, by the way. Can you see her over there? I'm pointing at her. She's been standing there the whole day. She's shadowing someone over here because she's got a paper to do. And she's just standing over there. I said, sit down. She said, no, I need to stand over there, which is kind of cool. Have generally less hair. This is actually pretty cool. Or organized hair. If you look at most of the guys here, their hair is really organized. Or they have somebody else's hair. They don't know important things like fashion and keeping up to the pace with everybody else. They tend to be colorblind. I really had to get help getting my clothes right so I can get the actual Penn State colors. I did research before I came, by the way. So if you notice, all my clothes are dark blue, white, and there's a lot of black because I don't have anything else in my wardrobe that has these colors. They're here in front, and they're seated there in the crowd, and they're lost. But you know the thing that's even more intriguing is Zach, who I know, Emily, who was helping me out, Steve, the other Zach, Alex, all the guys who have TEDx PSU t-shirts on them. They live life really large. Robots tend to not do that. They're programmed, not inspired. They have no opinions, just facts. Always afraid of being afraid, always think you're talking about them. Ha! They self-medicate with mediocre. See things in black and white, like you probably have been doing for a while. They know they can be so much better, but it's just not cool to be. They make decisions once and leave it at that. This is a machine. It exists. They don't live large. They just are. It's now officially been 300 minutes, and I'm over by 1 minute, 11 seconds. So you see, actually, I'm probably over. I knew it already. You have looked at 30 slides. Technically, this is actually the 31st slide. And I'm 30 years old plus 1. Shh. So it kind of works out. What am I trying to tell you? I can give you a phenomenal story of how we've changed 36 people's lives in Nairobi. How we've moved them from earning 75 cents a day to 750 shillings a day. That's $106 every day. They're so wealthy because of where they came from to where they are, not because of how much money they have in their pockets, that their wisdom, what they've learned in the last 4.5 months, is blowing minds of corporate companies worth hundreds of millions of US dollars. But you're the fortunate ones. You're the ones who get to see things the way everybody in the world kind of wants to see things. You're the ones who are at the forefront of what the spear, we call it, is supposed to be. Because ideally in Nairobi, if you are going to try to defend yourself, you're going to try to fight someone. But if you are Maasai somewhere in the bush, about 20, 30 kilometers away, and you come up with a weapon, you're going to try to get the longest stick and put the hardest piece of stone at the top and sharpen it as sharp as you can. You're that piece of stone. Everybody here is an influencer. Everybody here has networks. Everybody here has partnerships. But everybody here chooses whether you want to be an alien, stand out, be strange, smell funny, borrow somebody else's hair, do something insane with your life. Or be a machine. Go to class, learn something, get stuff stuck up into you. USBs, CD-ROMs, Google, iPads, iPhones. And then get out of here, get a job, settle down. Be mediocre. So when you die, we don't have a building with your name on it. We don't even have a road on your name on it. Nobody even mentions a club and puts your name on anything. You don't have a locker room, for example, like we did yesterday with Tony, where there's a name stuck. There's nothing. You came, you went. Kind of like the way the leaves came and went last fall on the trees outside. You've heard 300 minutes of the most inspirational stories you'll ever hear in this room today. What are you going to do with them tomorrow? That's my name. Goodbye.